Good evening, everyone. I am Yash Barfa, Vice Chair of IEEE Electron Devices Society, Student Branch Chapter at Acropolis Institute of Technology and Research. I have a privilege of serving as the moderator for the today's podcast session. On the behalf of IEEE EDS Student Branch Chapter, I warmly welcome you all to the IEEE podcast series. And now, it's my great honor to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Professor Corley, a globally renowned expert in semiconductor technology, device physics, and reliability engineering, as well as an IEEE Fellow and IEEE Electron Devices Society Distinguished Lecturer. Professor Corley is globally renowned expert in semiconductor technology, device physics, and reliability engineering. He served at imec, living in Belgium from 1984 to 2016 in several leadership roles and has been a professor at KU Leuven, Belgium since 1980. His research spans semiconductor technology, radiation effect, defect engineering, and low frequency noise phenomena. Professor Corley has authored over 1,400 technical papers, including more than 430 peer-reviewed journal publications, delivered 1,200 plus international conference presentations, and contributed extensively through books and conference proceedings. A distinguished leader at IEEE community, he served as a president at the IEEE Electron Device Society from 2008 to 2020 and has received prestigious honor including IEEE Third Millennium Medal and IEEE EDS Distinguished Service Award, recognizing his outstanding contribution to semiconductor research and the global engineering community. Sir, it's a truly privilege and honor to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Before we begin our discussion, I would like to start with a question that I am sure every students are curious about. Sir, my first question is, every successful researcher has a story behind their journey. Could you please share your what inspired you to pursue semiconductor technology and device physics?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Every successful researcher has a story behind their journey. Could you could you share what inspired you to pursue semiconductor technology and device physics?
Okay. Well, I am an electronic and mechanical engineer, and I did a thesis in the final year, in the fifth year, together with industry. And based on that work, they proposed me to go for a PhD. And at that time, I was associated with the University of Leuven. And there we had Professor Van Overstraten, who became the first CEO of imec. And that's the reason why I became interested in semiconductor technology, physics, and everything related to semiconductors.
Okay, sir. My second question is, with AI application demanding higher computing power and energy efficiency, what are the biggest semiconductor technology challenges that researchers must solve?
Oh, that's a very difficult question because there can be a lot of different answers. I would say the main challenge in general today of semiconductor technology is the fact that we have to increase the packing density to make the devices smaller and smaller. In order to do that, the technology becomes more and more complex. We easily speak about more than 500 different steps to come to a full process. The challenge for the researcher is, of course, to do the right research. But the problem is that there is not one solution. To give you one example, 20 years ago, I go back in history, we had a problem with silicon dioxide, the gate dielectric. If the gate dielectric became smaller than 3 nanometer, we got tunneling current, so we had to replace the gate dielectric by a new material, what they called high K material. But the question was, which high K material? there are 20, 30 different materials that can be investigated. And that is one of the challenges. If you only focus on one material, maybe you're lucky and you're the winner, but for the same, you can be a loser. And that's the reason why research became strongly linked with industry. Because also for industry, it was impossible to look at 20 different materials. So they had to collaborate with R&D centers and universities in order to be sure that at the end of the day, the right material for them would be available. And for dielectrics, it became hafnium oxide. The point is that if you come up with a new material, it takes about 10 years between basic research and implementation in a commercial product. That's normally the time. It is the same for dielectrics, it's the same for lithography, it's the same for the metals that you are using. So the complexity is strongly increasing, and at the same time, you increase complexity because you want to increase the performance. That's the main goal, better performance. But then the second element, it should be done at the same or, if possible, a lower price. If your price is becoming, of your technology becoming too high, nobody will be interested, and you don't have access to the market. As I mentioned, nobody can afford that. There's only one company in the world who can do that, coming with a better product for a much higher price, and that's Apple. And that's because everybody wants to be Apple. That is a name. But if you buy another smartphone, you will see that the price is more or less staying the same, and the performance is going better. That's one of the challenges. Another challenge, to illustrate the complexity, is, for instance, artificial intelligence. The chips that you are going to make for that are very, very, very complex. And you need also a lot of computer power. And computer power means you need a lot of devices with a lot of power consumption. How to control that? So every technology field got their own challenges. And that's making it very, very complex. But there's good news for the students and for researchers, because I would say, go back 15 years, a lot of students were no longer interested in microelectronics. Why go into microelectronics? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to find a job. More and more companies were closing down. I'm thinking in Europe about Philips, Siemens had problems, Infineon. Today, it's totally different. They need thousands of microelectronic engineers because the market is booming. And the same thing, you know it much better than I do, is happening in India, where India wants indeed to enter the competition of semiconductor manufacturing. Is that answering more or less your question?
Yes, sir. So my third question is, from your perspective, which semiconductor process innovation has been the most revolutionary over the past decades?
Yes, it's amazing what have been realized over the decades. And we may not forget that the semiconductor, the transistor, invented in 1947, is only now about 80 years old. It's not that long ago. And if you see what we are doing today, take one example, optical lithography. To make the devices, you need extreme UV lithography. But that machine is a very, very, very complex machine. It also costs you about $500 million to buy a machine, but it's a combination of microelectronics, but also the optics is very complex, the laser, the power supplies you're using. So it's a full system, and I know EUV very well because I know the company ASML in the Netherlands very well. They are working together with about 90 to 100 different companies to build a machine like that. It's a real revolution. And microelectronics today is a part of your life. You cannot live without microelectronics. Probably you're not aware of that, but everybody of us is using a huge amount of microelectronic devices. If you leave home in the morning and you bring your smartphone, you're going back home to pick it up. 20 years ago, there was no smartphone, there was no GSM, but your life has been changing so much, so rapidly. The same with, if you think about the cars. The cars now is full of microelectronics. For a medium class car, not the top end, not the new Ferrari, I'm not referred to that, but the medium class car, electrical car, you need about 500 to 600 microelectronic components for that. And all those components have to work under different conditions. It's not one type of device. You need different type of technologies. And I'm referring to silicon, I'm referring to gallium nitride, to silicon carbide, RF designs, analog designs. No, it's a real revolution. What happened in the, let's say in the last, I would say the last 30, 40 years. And it's still going on.
Okay, sir, nice answer. My next question is looking ahead 10 to 15 years, what do you invention has the next major breakout that could fundamentally transform the semiconductors industry?
Okay, yeah, very difficult questions because there are many, many different answers to that. The main challenge for classical semiconductors will be the scaling, going down to the new technologies. Now we are speaking today, state of the art, the best you can get is 2 nanometer technology. You can get it from, for instance, TSMC. Samsung is working on it, Intel is working on that. But we are going further and further. We are going down to 10 and even 7 angstrom technologies. That's a real challenge to get that working. And the market is going faster and faster. I've been reading yesterday that Tesla, for instance, has been signing a new contract with Samsung. In order Samsung would be ready by 2028, it's only 2 years from now, it's not that far away, for the A16. There's a very, very small technology. And next to that, in order to be able to do that, we need new device architectures. In my presentation, I mentioned that we go from the planar device, we go to the 3D devices, we go to the FinFET, the gate all around, the nanowires and nanosheets, the Forex sheet. The latest one is the CFET, complementary FET, which are very difficult to fabricate. And then we are going further. If you want to go, you speak about next decade, 10 years ago, we are going to replace the high-K dielectrics by 2D materials. And a lot of work is going on today on 2D materials, a lot of good work, but only at device level, not yet to circuit level. And I would say before 2D materials will be implemented in a commercial device, it will take probably 7 to 8 years from now. So it's a lot of the computer power has to increase. But there's a main problem, power consumption. Building new data centers, that's total area, different area, building new data centers are going to consume a lot of power. So you need cooling of the devices. So every different field got different challenges. The same thing, I did not mention that, but Internet of Things, where life is full of sensors. Everything is monitored today. Unbelievable. In one country more than another, but we are sensing everything from the climate to security and the cars. That means we are generating a huge amount of data, the handling of the data, and how to do the processing. Should the processing be done in the cloud, or should it be, if possible, be done on chip, memory on chip, that type of things. So there are a lot of challenges coming to us. But I'm very hopeful that we are going to solve them.
So, my next
The only
question.
problem, maybe I want to give one additional comment. The only thing where I'm a little bit nervous, not afraid, nervous, is a geopolitical situation. If we go back, well, not that long, 5 years ago, companies all over the world were nicely working together. It was a huge potential of academic people, industrial people, all working together to the same goal. As you know, nowadays, the political situation is not so good. You have the US on one side, you have Europe different side, you have Asia, China. That means that the potential of working together, doing jointly, is going down. And we need the researchers. We need high qualified, excellent researchers from different parts of the world down a little bit the progress. Because only building new factories is not solving it. You also need the research and the development. And I need thousands and thousands of qualified researchers.
Okay, sir. My next question is, what reliability issues concern you most in advancement semiconductor technology?
What is concerning me the most?
Yes, sir. What reliability issues concern you the most in advanced semiconductor technologies?
What is concerning me, I mentioned already one, the geopolitical situation. Another point is the huge investment needed. If you think about an R&D center like imec in Belgium, imec is now going to invest about $3 billion to extend the processing facilities. So the cost of doing research is becoming more and more and more expensive. That means, compared to the past, a lot of research could be done at universities, in a laboratory, in a small lab. Nowadays, that's impossible because the cost to set up the lab is much too high. Nobody can afford that. And I'm still a strong believer that real innovation is coming from the academic world. People who wake up in the morning and say, okay, what am I going to do today? Wake up with crazy ideas. And they were able in the past to do experiments. And that we are missing a little bit. And that can be one of the problems in the future.
Okay, sir. One last question. Moore's law has been driven semiconductor scaling from the decades. Do you believe Moore's law still has the room to continue, or we are entering the new era of innovation beyond traditional scaling?
No, Moore's law is still going on for quite some time. But Moore's law, only looking at what does it mean, doubling the density every 2 years or 18 months and gaining 25% in manufacturing costs, probably that's not going to work. But the trend in scaling, that will continue. And therefore, we are no longer thinking about the classical way of manufacturing semiconductors. Nowadays, we are speaking about 3D devices, sequential integration, where we are putting different layers on top of each other in order to increase the packing density. We are speaking about chiplets, where you're making different designs and put them all together in order to increase the functionality. I think that type of issues are becoming more and more important. But Moore's law will continue. It's all depending how we are going to define that.
Thank you, sir. Now, oh, continue, sir.
You have some more questions or?
Sir, last round, rapid fire questions. Okay, sir. Like moving to the final segments of the today's podcast, the rapid fire round. So my first question is, Industry or academia, which taught you more?
Research, academy, sorry, what do you want to hear between which is going to...
Like your
Hmm?
no, sir. Like industries or academia, which taught you more about semiconductor technologies and physics, device physics?
No, I believe the only thing is academic research only is not going to do it because they don't have the money for it. I only believe in collaboration. Academic people working together with industry. And then I'm not looking at one university with one company. No, I'm looking at the models where you have different universities working together as a consortium, together with the consortium of industry. If you think about IMEC is now doing the 14 angstrom technology. We would never been able to do that if we don't have a network of, for the moment, there's a network of about 70 different universities, and there is a network of all main industrial companies. So IMEC is working together with Samsung, with Intel, with TSMC, with Rapidus in China. Mention them, IMEC is working with them. And that type of activities will be crucial. The close collaboration where academy will determine the direction that they want to go, but will be guided, supervised by industry. Industry must believe in it. Otherwise, they're not going to pay for that. For instance, the work on 2D, some people say it will never be implemented in commercial devices. Well, the fact that companies like Intel, Samsung, TSMC all got 2D material on the roadmap means they are believing in it. They are not doing a lot of research themselves today, and they leave that to academic people, consortia. And I think that is, for me, the best way to go. Global, I hope global collaboration. Universities from different parts of the world with different expertise, collaborating, not competing. Competing is too expensive and is not good to my opinion. You should really work together, divide the work, and then come up with a global solution. I think that's the right way to go. Okay?
Yes, sir. Sir, my
But
last question.
Yes, please.
Sir, my last question is one emerging technology that excites you the most.
I didn't understand the question. Can you?
Yes, like one emerging technology that excites you the most.
Oh, now I'm thinking very hard because, well, I'm excited about what's happening related to quantum computing. It's a challenge for the devices, and it's very interesting because quantum computing, you need to work also at low temperatures, at cryogenic temperatures. I did work on cryogenic temperatures. I edited a book on it 25 years ago. At that time, cryogenic electronics was only important for space applications because in space, it is very cold and your semiconductor must work. Now for quantum computing, you got the same challenges, operating at low temperatures. But next to that, I'm also excited what's happening about spintronics. It's a different concept. And it still takes some years, but spintronics is also going to know a breakthrough in the coming 5 years. So there are different exciting technologies coming up. But overall, I'm very, very positive about the future of microelectronics and microelectronics engineering. Of course, the educational program for the students are nowadays different than the one 10 years ago. So professors should take into account that the skills of the engineers are quite different from the past. For instance, nowadays, biomedical applications, it's a huge field, but requires a different skill than the classical electronics. But the future is, for me, if I would start again as an engineer, I'll come back to that in a moment. If I would start again over to study engineering, yes, I would go for microelectronics. The only question is if I would start again my life, if I would become an engineer. But there's nothing to do with the future. There are other areas where I'm very excited about, diplomacy, for instance, philosophy. I'm highly interested in all those areas. But I'm not regretting that I did engineering, and I got in my life a large number of opportunities. The only thing is, if you get an opportunity, don't be afraid and go for it. And networking is extremely, extremely important. Building up a good network of colleagues, co-workers all over the world. And that's what I was very lucky. I was able to do that. If you would analyze my publication list, I got publications with universities from all over the world, going from Russia to Brazil, to the US, to China. So I was always believing in working jointly with the people. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. As we come to the end of the podcast, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude. It has truly been honored and a privilege to host you. On the behalf of IEEE Electron Device Society Student Branch Chapter, Acropolis Institute of Technology and Research, we sincerely thank you for your valuable time. Thank you once again, sir.
Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure to do it. Bye-bye. Good evening. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.